Hello Buzz Touchers. Today we are going to go through the exercise of installing the new Android SDK kit onto a Windows 7 operating system. This is a brand new SDK kit from Android/Google that includes Eclipse as well as the Android SDK and the Android developer tools. So basically it has everything you need in one zipped file. You don't actually have to install anything anymore, and it's actually pretty snazzy. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I have up here the page where this can be downloaded, but if you just do a Google search for Android SDK, you'll end up at the same place. Notice that there are some system requirements, and that includes, in the particular case of Windows, and actually the other ones, is the Java JDK. So you'll know that it needs the Java JDK, and I've gone ahead and downloaded that as well. If you go to Google, and again, Google Java JDK, you'll come to this page, and I picked the Windows x86 32-bit executable, and I've already downloaded that. So we're going to start by doing that install, and then we will do the install of the Android SDK / Eclipse, and we'll see what happens. So I've already downloaded these. This thing right here is 7-zip, which we'll use to unzip this. And here's the Java JDK, so let's go ahead and install that real quick. This may be old hat for some of you guys, but we'll go ahead and do it anyways, just so everybody can see it. So as you can see, it's preparing the installer, and this is development kit. And just a reminder, it does have to be the JDK, the Java Development Kit. The JRE runtime engine is not sufficient for just doing this. So let's just go ahead and install everything here. This will take a few moments, so I don't know, go get a cup of coffee or something. I may edit out part of this depending on how it goes. I will tell you that I am running Windows 7 here in VMware Player, so that's kind of cool. This isn't actually my development machine or anything like that. This is a brand new install of Windows 7 that I did, and I'm running it in VMware Player. So that's actually kind of cool. I'm hoping that I can roll back to the install configuration for this VM when I'm done, and have another fresh one in case I have to do another demo. But anyways, this is doing the install, so that's cool. It's going somewhat fast, so hopefully this won't take too much longer. Okay, it's asking, do you want to install here? So we'll go ahead and do that. This may take a few minutes, so I'm going to be quiet for a few seconds or minutes, and I'll either edit out this long period of time, or I'll be back talking in a moment. Okay, so it is done, and if I go ahead and click finish here, the Java JDK has been installed, so we have met that prerequisite for installing the Android SDK. It's going to ask you to register your software. You don't actually have to, so we're going to skip that right now. Now if you come back here to your downloads folder or wherever you put it, you're going to want to go ahead and unzip this bundle that you downloaded from Android. So I'm just going to extract it to its own little folder there. And that's just going to unzip the package, put it in a folder, and we'll take a look at it in a second. It should go fairly quickly. Okay, so the package has finished unzipping. So you notice now we have a folder called ADT Bundle Windows x86. Now if you double click that, you're going to see the same folder in there, and then if you double click on that, you'll see the Eclipse in the SDK folder. So when I go to copy this over to my Android development folder, I'm actually just going to take the subfolder and not the main folder. So I'm not going to take this folder. I'm going to double click, get this one, and copy it, because otherwise it's just kind of redundant. So coming over to my local disk, I'm going to create a folder called, let's just go ahead and call it Android Development. And then if I go back into my downloads here, double click on here, grab this, do a copy. Actually, you can do a cut. Just do a cut so we don't have two copies of this whole thing. Go into your Android development folder. So notice I'm on local disk, Android development folder, and I'm going to head and paste that in there. Should be pretty quick since you're moving it on the same disk, which just kind of moves around the pointers on the disk. I'll give it a second here to complete. It's hard to say how long this is going to take given this is a virtual machine. Okay, it's all in there. So now if you look here in your Android development folder, you'll notice you have the ADT bundle with two subfolders, an Eclipse one and SDK. So that's actually pretty cool. So this eclipse.exe file is the one that you're going to want to double click on in order to start up Eclipse. So this is the first thing you're going to want to do in this instance. So I'm going to go ahead and actually right click on here, and I'm going to do a send to desktop. Puts a nice little icon on the desktop. Now you can also right click and do a send to, or a pin to start menu, and then that will put it here on the start menu. So whatever you want to do. So we got that up there. You go ahead and double click on that, and it will launch Eclipse, which is the Android developer tools. So this is kind of a new splash screen. Usually you see one that says Eclipse and says like Juno or Indigo or something like that. So now it's asking for you to select a workspace. This is sort of like a scratch space. There's more uses for the workspace, but you know, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just some area that has some disk space. So I'd go ahead and say use this as the default and don't ask again. And then hit OK. And it'll go through its initialization here. Give that a few seconds because it is a little slow. So you have a little welcome screen here. First thing it's going to do is ask if you want to send usage statistics to Google, and why not, if it helps them make a better product. Let's go ahead and say yes. So you know, you can read all this if you want, but there's lots of guides with BuzzTouch to show you what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and this kind of brings you up to your main panel here, and this is how Eclipse looks in your development environment. So I'm going to show you how to kind of customize it in a way that I do it. Now this is not necessarily the only way or even the right way, but it's the way that I do it. I get rid of this outline pane because I never used it. I get rid of the declaration pane because I don't use it, and the Java doc pane because I don't use it. I come up here to Window, Show View, and Other, and then I go into Android, and I actually add the devices, and then I add Logcat. Those are two ones that I use, and the Logcat you're going to find is super important because a lot of times when you post a problem at buzztouch.com, people will ask for your Logcat information, and so this is where you're going to get it. The console area here is going to show you what's going on in the Android console. Notice this little button over here. There's actually two consoles here, Android and DDMS. Make sure you're always looking at Android, and this is the problems one. It's going to tell you what kind of problems you have. Now if you come up here to Window and Android SDK Manager, we're going to go ahead and start this puppy and launch it. SDK stands for Software Development Kit, and this is the kit that Android and Google provide. If you notice down here, it's going and fetching all the different things that you can have. It's already got the latest, over here where my mouse is, the latest SDK tools and platform tools, 21 and 16, so that's cool. It also installed for you the Android 4.2 SDK platform, that's Jelly Bean. Now it did not install the Google APIs. So if you want to test on Jelly Bean with your BuzzTouch project, you do need to install the Google APIs. So you would want to check that and then do install one package. Now, the minimum package that you have to have in order to do BuzzTouch development is the Google API 8, which is this one right here, Google APIs, API level 8. And that corresponds to Android 2.2, so you want to check both of these. And we're just doing the minimum here and do install 2 packages. It's going to ask you if you accept the licensing agreement. You can hit accept all and then do the install. And we'll just go ahead and watch this for a few moments. Looks like it's going to take about 2 minutes or so, so I am actually just going to go ahead and let this run so that you can see what it looks like all the way through. Now if you do get errors in this, kind of reach out to the forum. Sometimes when you try to go install these SDKs and download these APIs and things, you'll get, I think they're permissions errors basically. So sometimes you have to do this outside of Eclipse, just running the Android SDK. Sometimes you have to run as administrator. Lots of different things could be happening. But this is the best way to go ahead and try it from the get-go. So we'll go ahead and let this run, and hopefully this works. The worst part is it takes forever to download. And I have a pretty speedy connection. But hopefully, since we're only installing 2 items here, it should go fairly quick. And I'm just going to keep talking because I'm sure somebody out there loves the sound of my voice. Certainly not a radio voice, but I guess it's a good enough tutorial voice. But you could put me on mute if you don't like my voice at all. Won't hurt my feelings. I will be putting together a document on this as well, so at some point I'm going to capture some screenshots. Notice that it's unzipping the SDK platform right down here, and it's going to do the install after that. And looks like it's got to download the Google APIs now. The Google APIs, the only requirement the BuzzTouch, well, the reason the BuzzTouch requires the Google APIs is because it uses Google Maps. If you remove Google Maps from your application, and it's not actually that difficult to do, and I have written up a tutorial on it, and it's out there in the forums if you search on my name. If you remove the Google Maps, then you are not required to use the Google APIs, and you can actually just use the Android APIs. So the only dependency on the Google APIs is the mapping code that's in the BuzzTouch thing, and that comes with every project. Whether you use the location map or not, you're still going to get it. So as long as those files are there, you are required to use the Google APIs. But like I said, you can remove those, and there is a tutorial that I wrote out on the forums. Okay, we're almost done, hopefully. "30 seconds left." And maybe you could take this time to head over to the plugin market at BuzzTouch and purchase a few plugins for your apps. Lots of really good stuff there. Pretty cool notepad feature plugin some dude wrote up. It's worth a couple bucks. You guys can always, post stuff on the forums about any plugins that you'd like to see. All right, so we are done now. Notice it's installed, the SDK platform here, and the Google APIs. So you can go ahead and exit out of this. You're going to see some errors like this. You can pretty much just ignore those. So really quickly, let's close this out by setting up your virtual device. Or your emulator as it's called. Now there's actually been quite a few improvements in here, so it's pretty neat. Let's go ahead and hit new, and then we'll just call this BuzzTouch. That's your emulator. So now this is the new thing. You have tons of different pre-configured devices that you can use here, all the way from the Nexus 7 to the Galaxy Nexus to all kinds of stuff. So pretty much pick whatever you want. This is a pretty good one right here. If you want to use that. Now make sure that you change the target. There should be a Google API there, so I don't know why that's not showing up. Let's go ahead and go back here real quick. Look at the Android SDK manager. So sometimes we have issues like this. We just have to work through them. Maybe that Google API is not supported on those things, so why don't we go ahead and throw in this Google API right there. We'll install this one package. This is the Google API related to Jelly Bean, which is the latest version of Android. 4 minutes left. 3 minutes. We'll just go real quickly to take a look at a couple things. When you're importing your project, the thing that I tend to do is I'll do an import. And usually I do an existing project into Workspace, but I've been finding lately for some reason that's not been working, and so I have to do an existing Android code into Workspace. And then you hit next, and then you basically browse to the directory where your project is. I don't have one on here, so I can't do that, but that's how you do that. Another thing you'll hear people tell you to do is to clean your project if you have errors. So if you go, if you have a project over here and you do a project clean, and that'll give you the ability to clean it, and that kind of breaks code connections that might be in there. So that's something good to know. Any preferences that you want to set for Eclipse? Lots of different stuff in here. Editors, you can specify editors if you want. Just all kinds of stuff. Run debug, how things are going to run when they start up, when things launch. So just kind of poke around here and see what's going on. Start up and shut down. Let's go back here and see where we're at. 2 minutes left. Okay, well, I'm just going to let this run for a minute and probably edit it out until it's done. Okay, so we're back and the Google API has been installed. So let us exit the Android SDK manager and see if that has any effect on our ability to create a virtual device. We'll go ahead and hit new, buzz touch. Let's just go ahead and pick the Nexus as the device and target. Okay, so it's still showing Android. So I'm thinking what we're going to need to do is exit out of here, exit out of Eclipse. It's going to save the workspace. Let's go back in Eclipse. We'll go a different way this time. And it will launch it and get the workspace in order and everything. And hopefully it's going to pick up the new SDK. So let's go to Window, Virtual Device Manager, New, Buzz Touch. Let's go with the tablet again. And okay, so we just needed to restart Eclipse. So actually, let's go ahead and switch this to the original one I was going to do, 5.1. And we got Google API 8. So that's the minimum level that you need. You can tweak all these as much as you want, simulate a camera if you want, or use your own webcam actually, if there's a camera on it. I'll hit none. Internal storage, 200 megabytes, whatever, it's going to kind of create that size on your disk, so make sure you have it. And then just hit OK. And so now you have your virtual device. And that's what will get launched when you launch your app in Eclipse. Okay, and that pretty much ends up this small tutorial on how to install Eclipse with the Android SDK using the new bundle that they have provided, where all you need to do is install Java and then unzip the package that they give you, run Eclipse, and update the SDK with the Google APIs that you want. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the BuzzTouch forums, and somebody will get to them, I would imagine, very quickly. And just let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for tuning in, and happy developing.